We've mapped less than a quarter of the ocean floor. Think about that for a second. 70% of Earth's surface is covered in water, and we barely know what's down there. What we have discovered, though, is enough to make you wonder if some mysteries should stay buried. Number 10, the sound that shouldn't exist. In 1997, underwater sensors positioned thousands of miles apart in the Pacific Ocean picked up something impossible. A sound. Not just any sound, but an ultra-low frequency noise so powerful it was detected across 3,000 miles of open water. They called it the bloop. To put this in perspective, a blue whale, the loudest animal on Earth, can't be heard beyond a few hundred miles. This thing was heard across half an ocean. Scientists scrambled for explanations. The frequency pattern didn't match any known biological source. Submarines? Wrong signature. Underwater earthquakes? Not even close. What made it truly unsettling was where it originated. Near the coordinates of a fictional location from H.P. Lovecraft's writings. A sunken city where an ancient creature supposedly slumbers. For 15 years, theories multiplied, unknown sea creatures, classified military technology, something awakening from the deep. Then, in 2012, NOAA finally identified the source, an iceberg. Specifically, the sound of a massive ice sheet cracking and breaking away from an Antarctic glacier. But here's what keeps people up at night. If it took us 15 years to identify the sound of breaking ice, what else are we hearing that we can't explain? Number 9, the Triangle of Vanishing. 500,000 square miles of Atlantic Ocean stretching between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. The Bermuda Triangle has consumed ships and aircraft for over a century, and some disappearances defy every rational explanation. December 1945, Flight 19, 5 U.S. Navy torpedo bombers vanished during a routine training mission. Not crashed, vanished. The last transmission from the flight leader reported that both compasses had malfunctioned, then silence. The rescue plane sent to find them also disappeared. 14 men gone without a trace. March 1918, the USS Cyclops, one of the Navy's largest ships, departed Barbados with 309 people aboard. It never arrived in Baltimore. No distress signal, no wreckage ever found, no bodies. 300 people and a massive steel vessel simply erased from existence. Scientists have proposed methane gas pockets beneath the seafloor. These pockets can erupt suddenly, reducing water density to the point where ships lose buoyancy and plummet to the bottom. The gas, if it reaches aircraft altitude, could stall engines or ignite from a spark. Electromagnetic anomalies have been documented in the area. Time warps, parallel universes, even alien abduction theories. Yet, modern analysis reveals something more mundane and somehow more disturbing. The disappearance rate in the Bermuda Triangle is statistically identical to any other heavily trafficked ocean region, which means either the danger is everywhere, we're exceptionally good at losing things in water. Number 8, the sounds we can't source. The bloop wasn't alone. Since 1991, underwater listening stations have detected dozens of unexplained oceanic sounds. The upsweep, recorded since August 1991, consists of long trains of narrowband sounds that sweep upward in frequency. It's seasonal, peaking in spring and autumn, loud enough to be recorded throughout the entire Pacific Ocean. Scientists believe it originates near underwater volcanic activity, but they can't locate the source. Then there's Julia, March 1st, 1999, a sound lasting 2 minutes and 43 seconds, heard across the entire equatorial Pacific. NOAA attributes it to an iceberg running aground off Antarctica. But icebergs don't usually create sounds with that specific frequency pattern. What's particularly unnerving about these sounds is their consistency. They repeat. They follow patterns, almost like they're trying to communicate something. Or maybe that's just what we want to hear in the void. Number 7, monsters are real. For centuries, sailors told stories of massive tentacled beasts capable of dragging entire ships beneath the waves. We dismissed them as myths, drunken fantasies, exaggerations. Then in 2004, we finally photographed a living giant squid. Not in some aquarium, but in its natural habitat, deep in the ocean, where it had been hiding all along. These creatures can reach 66 feet in length, maybe longer. We don't actually know their maximum size because we've barely seen them. Their cousin, the colossal squid, is even more terrifying. 45 feet long, weighing up to 1,500 pounds, armed with swiveling three-pointed hooks on their tentacles. We didn't film a living, colossal squid until 2025. It was a 1-foot baby. If that's infancy, what does adulthood look like? These are apex predators living at depths of 7,200 feet. We've found maybe a dozen specimens ever. They've been down there the entire time we've been sailing above them, completely unknown to science until a few decades ago, which raises an obvious question. What else is down there that we haven't found yet? Number 6. The shark that disappeared. In 2003, researchers tagged a 9-foot great white shark off the Australian coast. Standard procedure for tracking migration patterns and temperature changes. 4 months later, the tag washed ashore. When scientists analyzed the data, they found something impossible. The shark had plummeted 1,900 feet in a matter of seconds. Its body temperature spiked nearly 20 degrees. Then the tag stopped recording depth and started recording temperature from inside something else. Something with an internal temperature far higher than any fish. The shark had been eaten whole. Great whites are apex predators. They sit at the top of the food chain. Nothing hunts them, except something did. Something large enough to swallow a 9-foot shark in one bite and dive to depths that would crush most creatures. For 11 years, theories ranged from a colossal squid to an undiscovered megapredator. The leading hypothesis now? Another great white, nearly twice the size, possibly 20 feet long. But that's just an educated guess. We don't actually know what's capable of hunting and consuming an apex predator in seconds. Number 5, the liver hunters. Since 2017, great white sharks have been washing up on South African beaches with surgical precision wounds. Their livers removed, nothing else touched. Just the liver, extracted with almost clinical efficiency. The culprits? Orcas. Specifically, 2 males named Port and Starboard. But this isn't normal orca behavior. These animals have developed a specialized hunting technique that targets great whites, exclusively for their oil-rich livers. They've taught this method to others. The behavior is spreading. Marine biologists can't explain why this started happening now. Orcas have always been capable of killing great whites, but they never did. Not systematically. Not with this level of precision. Something changed in 2015 when they first targeted 7-gill sharks, then escalated to great whites 2 years later. The most disturbing part? We're watching apex predator hierarchies collapse in real time. Great white populations have fled entire regions of South African coast. The ecosystem is reorganizing itself around these specialized orca hunters, and scientists don't understand the trigger. Number 4, ships without crews. The Kaz 2 set sail from Australia in 2007 with 3 experienced sailors. Days later, authorities found it drifting, engine running, laptop powered on, table set for a meal, life jackets and emergency equipment untouched. The crew had simply vanished. No distress signal, no signs of struggle, no bodies recovered. Coroners investigated for years and concluded nothing except that the men were gone. This wasn't an isolated incident. The Mary Celeste in 1872, the MV Joyita in 1955 with 25 passengers, all found intact, sailing empty waters. Crews disappeared without explanation. In the late 1960s, 4 submarines from 4 different countries vanished. American, French, Israeli, Soviet, all within a few years of each other. None ever found. The Navy Court of Inquiry stated simply, the cause of the loss cannot be definitively ascertained. That's military speak for we have no idea what happened. Number 3, structures beneath the waves. Off the coast of Japan lies the Yonaguni Monument, massive stone formations with right angles, terraces, and what appear to be carved steps. Discovered in 1987, it sits at depths of 40 to 100 feet. Some researchers insist it's natural, formed by tectonic activity and erosion. Others point to the precision of the angles and the apparent tool marks. If it's artificial, it predates known Japanese civilization by thousands of years. It would require a maritime culture we have no record of, submerged when sea levels rose after the last ice age over 10,000 years ago. The Baltic Sea anomaly presents a different mystery. Discovered in 2011, this 60-meter circular object sits on the seafloor looking distinctly unnatural. Electronic equipment malfunctions near it. Its shape resembles nothing geological, appearing almost manufactured. Yet, We have no explanation for what it is or how it got there. Number 2, the dead zones. Over 400 regions of ocean have become death traps, areas where oxygen levels drop so low that nothing can survive. These dead zones have increased tenfold since 1950. They now cover an area larger than the United Kingdom. The process is terrifyingly simple. Agricultural runoff, sewage, and industrial waste dump nitrogen and phosphorus into the ocean. This triggers massive algae blooms. When the algae die, bacteria decompose them, consuming all available oxygen in the process. What remains are hypoxic regions where marine life suffocates. The Gulf of Mexico dead zone measured 8,776 square miles in 2017, the size of New Jersey. Every summer it appears, grows, then dissipates. And it's getting larger. Climate change accelerates the spread. Warmer water holds less oxygen naturally. As temperatures rise, dead zones expand faster than scientists predicted. We're creating wastelands in our oceans through the simple act of growing food and disposing of waste. Number 1, the crushing deep, the Mariana Trench, 7 miles down. Pressure equivalent to 50 jumbo jets stacked on your thumbnail. Pitch black, near freezing. Only 3 people have ever descended to the bottom. We've mapped more of Mars than we have of the Mariana Trench. We know less about what exists in those depths than we do about distant planets. The environment is so extreme that life shouldn't exist there, yet it does. Strange, alien creatures adapted to conditions that would instantly kill anything from the surface. There's a pool of molten sulfur down there, unique to Earth. We don't know what lives in it or around it. We don't know what we're not seeing in the darkness between our limited lights and cameras. 95% of the ocean remains unexplored. The Mariana Trench represents the absolute extreme of that unknown. Whatever exists in those crushing depths has never seen sunlight, never experienced pressure below several tons per square inch, never known anything except absolute darkness and cold. That's what we know exists. Imagine what we haven't found. The ocean keeps its secrets well. We've sent probes to distant planets while the majority of our own world remains unmapped, unexplored, a vast liquid mystery covering most of our planet's surface. Every answer we find seems to generate 3 new questions. Maybe that's the real terror, not the creatures we've discovered or the sounds we can't explain, but the realization of how little we actually know. We live on a water world, and we're strangers to most of it. The squid that hid from us for millennia, the sounds that took 15 years to identify, the apex predators being hunted by something we never predicted, the structures that might rewrite history, the dead zones spreading faster than we can map them, and beneath it all, the crushing depths where anything could exist, thriving in conditions we barely comprehend. 95% unexplored. That's not a gap in knowledge. That's an entire world we haven't met yet. And based on what we've found in the 5% we have explored, maybe we should be asking ourselves a different question. What if the ocean isn't keeping secrets from us? What if it's keeping us secret from whatever else is down there? See you next time. Subscribe.